Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2018 Winter Warm-Up in Louisville, Texas. I'll be your host today, Robert McCall, and I've got Anthony Vanden Heuvel here with me as well. On our lead card, we have Joshua Castillo. He's out of Louisville, Texas. This is Eric Oakley, sporting the putter pants, as usual. Miles Seaborn, newly transplanted to Louisiana from DFW. And Coda Hatfield, he's out of Oklahoma. And then we've got the Texas Cactus himself. This is Bradley Williams. He's out of Austin, Texas. So coming into the second round, Joshua Castillo has a one-shot lead over Bradley and Miles, a couple shots over Coda, and then 3 over Eric Oakley. Let's hop right into it.
Yes. So hole one plays, it's a different tee pad. The sign says 183 feet. You said it's actually a little bit closer to maybe 220-ish?
Right, they've moved the tee pad in the last couple of years, so this is closer to where the original tee pad was. This is the shot that players who have played here will be familiar with.
Okay, and it's very downhill, so even if it is a little bit longer than the sign says, it's still going to play shorter than the actual distance.
Right. The play here a lot is people who kind of throw that little flex forehand, as we see Joshua go for there. His straightened out just a little much, but you can also throw a backhand straight at it on a little turnover maybe.
Mm-hmm. And this is Miles throwing his Frost Triple X, his Frostline Triple X, which is a very, very overstable disc, as you can tell by the fact that it's fading out much earlier than I believe he had anticipated.
Yeah, he just didn't quite get the initial angle that he wanted, but if you do get far enough left, there are putts. Far enough right, there are putts to be had over here. Bradley's got a Nova in his hand. He is a well-documented, spectacular Nova thrower.
And this looks like we're going to get that backhand kind of gentle turnover line that you were talking about.
That's right, and his form is just about as smooth as it gets. I mean, if you haven't seen Bradley on video, I think you're in for a treat. Fantastic thrower of the disc.
That worked pretty well.
Yeah.
So far, the backhand line is winning.
It was as if he was aiming there or something.
It looked like it.
Coda Hatfield, I played with him this last weekend, and I believe this is a Lucid Verdict.
Yes.
And it doesn't really fly like a Lucid Verdict because it's really, really beat up. So he just throws it on little hyzer flip-ups or baby force-overs like this, and he's giving himself a look on the right side.
That looks like it's going to be over there towards Miles. Like you said, though, it's a Verdict. That did not fly like a normal Verdict at all. I think he might have been hoping for a little bit more fade out of that, and Eric is taking the sidearm route again with a Lucid Justice.
And that's really all you want to do. Straight shot, hop over those roots. That's parked. I'm sure Eric said something to the camera.
Yeah, he was excited about that shot. Yeah. That's a really good start to your second round.
And from where Joshua is, there's really not much. There's that one little kind of bushy, scraggly tree behind the basket. There's not much to do but pitch up, so he's made a good play there.
Miles from a similar distance, but more downhill angle, just over the top.
Yeah, there's usually some wind pushing off the lake that's right behind the basket, so these putts play a lot, usually with a lot of headwind.
Coda from pretty much the same spot. Miles missed just a little bit too high, Coda just a little bit low. Law of averages, they both birdied it.
Yeah, if you put those together, a couple birdies, you guys are welcome.
They should have some pretty easy pars for them. Bradley's got a really good look at birdie, though. Nice and easy.
Right in the center, nice and easy.
Miles has a decent comebacker, but he should make that all day.
Yeah, Miles is, as I said about Bradley, a well-documented, really good putter. And I hope we get to see some of that today. I unfortunately didn't get to play with these guys.
No?
No, yeah, you gotta play well at the tournament to get on the lead card, and this wasn't a good tournament for me, but definitely excited to catch up on the action as we see Joshua tap in for his 3.
Finally. Oh.
No.
Just kidding, not yet. Sorry, Eric.
Eric, wait your turn.
Yeah. Coda will tap in his par, and then eventually we'll get to Eric's putt.
Yeah, and he's just super parked it.
That's a good way to start. So birdies for Eric and Bradley, pars for everyone else, and now Bradley's tied.
Yeah. Well, and Joshua, you may not have heard his name quite as much as the other guys if you've been watching disc golf for a while. Joshua is local to the Louisville area, and he shot a 1050, I think it was 1056 rated first round. Turns out that's good.
That seems really good. But
Bradley's going to take the tee, and he is, as of the recording of this video, he's rated 1028.
Yes.
He will wish for a more 1028 type rated shot
was
after that.
That was not a typical Bradley Williams shot.
Yeah, the play here is just either a straight putter, just barely over the hill that crests it, and then falls off toward the basket that's in the sand down there. It's a pretty straight shot. Oakley's opted for a big thumber, and I didn't know he had that in the game.
I did not either, but I don't know about when you played it, but when these guys got to this hole, there was a ripping left to right wind. It's kind of hard to tell, but it had to be probably 10, 12, maybe 15 miles an hour, and they didn't want to go with the putter and turn it too much and then be way long and right. So we're going to see a few overhand shots.
Right. And if you can take the trouble out of play on this hole by throwing over the trees, it's definitely a good decision. Hitting one of those trees and kicking hard either direction can turn what should be it's not an easy 2, but it's one you really want to get. It can turn that into a tough 3 or even a 4 if you find a difficult spot. Here's one of Miles Seaborn's specialty shots.
Miles Seaborn throwing the Miles Seaborn grenade.
Yeah, he calls them Scoobies. Depends on where you're from in the country, but he's always called them Scoobies. He is holding the disc upside down, thumb underneath the rim instead of fingers under the rim. And he has kind of worked that up, I don't know, I guess down to a science.
I don't think it's fair to say he's perfected it, but he's probably as close as we'll get.
He's very, very good at those. He can make them fly to the right after going up and down if they want to. It's pretty good. So we see 4 over-the-top shots on this hole. Coda's just super smashed his drive.
Yes.
That's all right. So first to throw will be Bradley. He did catch that early tree, but sat down in this is about as good a spot as you can really get, looking at a similar line that you were off the tee box. Wow, and it's a little bit of a miss from Bradley. From our perspective, probably a more difficult shot than it looked.
Yes, and that kick kind of helped him. You'll see where his disc landed once we get up to his putt, but it really wasn't that unfriendly of a kick. I think he might have missed his line again and got a fairly generous... He got some tree love.
Yeah, if you hit something up high, as long as it doesn't kick hard left or right, it can filter down to the basket. Give you a look at the 2, or the 3, I guess, for him now. Coda trying for a long putt, just didn't quite pass that last tree. He'll have to settle for a look at 3 here. And Oakley for a 2 from a little bit of a straddle stance. Looks like he's got a couple trees on his right side to navigate. Just a little bit high left. Really tough to commit to. Turning that putter over in the air, just forcing it over a little bit with the wind coming off the water.
Exactly. And now Joshua has a little bit more of a tailwind type putt, which for me, I personally prefer it better.
Same.
I think it's more consistent. And
dude, the
he
half
wanted
and half,
that one.
He
wanted that one.
An inch
sure.
more, and that's in.
That was super close.
I see what you mean now about Bradley's kick. Yeah, it got him all the way down there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is not a hole you ever want a 4. I
No.
mean, it feels bad to not get a 2, to tell you the truth, but almost popped it back out.
Almost.
Whoa.
When you putt super, super hard,
little authority there from Bradley.
almost punished for having too good of a putt.
That's right. Coda for his 3, and just didn't quite give
That
it a
was
chance.
Just a miss, yeah.
Yeah. Rough spot for him. And we finally arrived at Miles's Scooby grenade, whatever you want
Thing.
to call it. Yeah, thing. that seems like a good call. And he's got to look from about, I feel like that's about 15, 20 for his 2.
Mm-hmm.
And you can basically count that all
That's
day.
Miles range all day, yeah.
Yeah. He's thrown some really super good Scoobies over the years, and it's just, I can't throw them. I mean, I can, but not like that,
Not
you know.
well.
So
Mhm.
it hurts every time I watch it.
Yeah, and you can see Joshua put the hood up, so you know it's business time.
Now we're done.
He wanted that putt, didn't get it.
Now we're down to business.
It's go time now.
Now we're down to business. So Coda with the unfortunate bogey there, just didn't quite get it around the trees on his first putt, and then not a great look for his second. So
And this hole 3 is another one where we're going to be playing from a different tee pad. The tee is actually much closer. As you can see, it's pretty much on the lake. It opens up the sidearm, or the backhand a little bit more and takes away that straight backhand over the land the whole time.
yeah, I would be surprised if we don't see a whole lot of forehands here, though, because that's the predominant shape of this hole. If you can throw a high forehand out over the water and just let it spike in, there are enough trees to stop it, or enough trees for you to get extremely unlucky and go way right of the basket.
Let's hope we don't see any of that.
But Bradley's got a really smooth forehand, and he's put a good angle on that shot. Just over the basket. If it's settled by that tree, he's right there. He's got a good look for 2.
Eric is no stranger to the sidearms either. Looks like one of his bio enforcers. Just kind of letting it go up a little high, it looks like. There's a lot of wind, again, like you were talking about earlier, coming off the lake. A lot of wind, but he'll have putt.
Yeah, and for this shot, you really just need either a super spike angle or just throw it way up in the air and let it stall. And so you saw both of those different routes at it, out of Bradley and out of Eric right there. Joshua takes a forehand as well, and he throws it a little bit low. He's going to have to get lucky through some trees to get there. And he has.
He sure does.
Maybe he just hit that little gap, but that's a tighter gap than if you go up high, to tell you the truth. So good for him. He is a local to the area. I'm sure he knew that it was good all day.
And they moved the basket on this one not too long ago, too, right?
That's right. It used to be on a little shelf below where it is right now. And so from this beach shot, beach is very relative, by the way.
There's sand next to water.
That's right. You could just throw a straight shot at it or a little turnover, still a forehand, but now this is up on the top shelf, and it kind of makes for some more difficult, I guess, putting decisions to be made. You know, you can easily airball and roll off and find yourself in a bad spot. But so playing up safe is a good call here. That's what Coda does. Miles gives it a little run, and you see just that little bit of roll. If that catch is wrong, he's either in the water or back down where he has a very, very difficult putt.
And you could see Eric kind of took a minute, compose himself, because there is still that 10, 15 mile an hour wind straight in his face, and maybe 5 feet behind the basket is a cliff. So if he misses everything, he's probably 3-putting.
Yeah, and that's honestly good on him to commit to it. I mean, because even hitting metal is enough probably to give him a decent look at a 3 there. That's one that you want to make, but it's an extremely daunting putt if you're standing over it. With Bradley stopping so close to the tree, he's got to feel a little bit more comfortable here. This is only about 20 feet. Yeah, and Bradley's never missing that.
That's just what he does.
Yeah, turns out he's pretty good at disc golf.
Throw a good drive, make an easy putt. That's it, man.
Don't know if you've heard that. Easy cleanup for Eric right there.
He very, very easily could have caught edge and rolled.
Oh, for sure. For sure. But good committed putt. Stayed close to the basket. And here's, with a CTP drive, Joshua.
Great drive.
Drops in for the deuce. Well done, sir.
Coda and Miles just going to come clean up. And you can see the wind there on Coda's pants. It's no joke. It's no joke.
Yeah, the lake is really interesting like that. If you haven't ever played out at Lake Louisville, you know, you can be a little bit removed from the lake and not feel very much wind. And once you get out there, it's like, oh man,
there's a lot.
Yeah, it's breezing today, and it can absolutely change the lines that you take on the holes that are close to the water like that. So we got a tie at the top. Bradley and Joshua still knotted up. Miles 1 shot back. Coda and Eric have a little bit of catching up to do.
Hole 4 plays 280 feet, and it's a very sharp dogleg to the right. Bradley's taking the backhand line, but I feel like the turnover or a sidearm, I feel like the sidearm is a little bit more consistent.
I'm really surprised he didn't take the forehand line because he's a really proficient forehand thrower.
When you can do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good shot, but he's still past the basket and to the left, and this basket sits up on another kind of cliff where it's really easy. If you miss a putt, it can be at the very bottom of the hill where you're not even putting back up. You're throwing back at it. So it's definitely a risk-reward putt if you do get to the basket.
Oh, Josh misses just a little bit low, but gets a great skip.
Yeah, and that's honestly not a bad miss. What you don't want to do is miss to the right. If you miss right, you can find brush and shoal and just all sorts of terror and danger, and it's awful over there.
Miles is just going to take advantage of this wind and throw way out to the right and just let it push back.
Yeah, wind coming off of the water makes that shot possible. Most of the time, this isn't really a feasible shot, but Miles is no stranger to a big hyzer. He throws very hard and very far, so he wanted to take advantage of that. It did push a little bit left on him, but he's missed all the trouble that was short.
Yep. Eric taking a sidearm with one of his many trusty felons.
I heard he likes that disc.
Just a little bit.
He's got a really nice move on it. Not quite the skip he was looking for, but he's still got a look if he chooses to take it. Coda wants that hyzer
Coda's
for sure.
Following that Miles line.
And he's another one that's very, very proficient at big hyzers. He's got a lot of power.
Ooh, that seems high.
Yeah, very, very spiky. But I mean, yeah, just playing safe. The hyzer can be a birdie play, but you're going to have to get lucky with the trees by the basket.
Okay.
So more than anything else, you throw the hyzer to get a 3, I think. The forehand is turnover is more the aggressive play, but there's also a lot more trouble there. We'll just get a couple of
Looks
little.
like they're just laying those up.
Yeah, little pitch ups here. kind of just floating it up to the basket, making sure that you don't flirt with the edge of that hill because falling down there is rough.
Joshua's kind of right at the edge of the range where they might start to run it. Looks like he just want to lay that up, not go too long, not down the hill.
Yeah, that's a good call. And same for Oakley here. Just lay that up. There's honestly not a reason to run that. That could be insta-4 if you miss. Now, Bradley's at the range where I feel like he's definitely running this.
And that pole, it's not right in his way, but it's definitely in his head. He knows that pole is there.
Yeah, no doubt.
He's got to split the pole in the tree or maybe try and go up and over the pole.
He did go up and over.
Up and over.
Wow. Dude, come on, man. Like, man, he's just good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just does.
I know slow-mez is like a patented thing, but I'm glad we got a slow-mez here because that was pretty sick there, Bradley.
And it was one of those just out of his hand. You could tell just kind of floated up into the wind. Nice and easy. Everybody else going to tap in their pars.
And it's hard to tell just from sitting here and watching now how difficult that putt was because that's a straight headwind. You're more exposed to the wind there than you are on anywhere other than those few beach holes on the course. And yeah, Bradley just puts it in the middle. Pretty sick. So he takes the lead right there. Oakley's hopped into 4th, and we still got Joshua 1 shot back, and then Miles 2 shots back.
Hole 5 plays 277 feet, and there's kind of a downhill aspect to it, right?
This is a strange shot. They've moved the tee pad over to the right. It used to be over to the left, and only by, 15, 20 feet, and everybody would just throw over the top, huge hyzer, and you just crash the trees, and sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. By moving this tee pad over to the left, that over-the-top shot is still there, but it's more of a stall or even a flex-type shot over the top. So I guess the preferred route for these first couple of guys is just down the middle. You honestly want something that's pushing on hyzer the whole way, that once it gets to that flat part that you can see is a little bit lighter up the fairway. If it skips up and to the left there, then you're in business because that's where the basket is, up to the left. Miles will almost always go over the top if he's got the option.
If there's a big outside hyzer line, I feel like Miles is taking it 100%.
Yeah. And he's got it way up in the air, and that did push pretty far left. Like we said, with the water coming off the wind, cool, man. With the wind coming off the water, turning that right edge down is pretty scary. But that's really what you have to do to super park it unless you hit a tree and get in a good spot. And Eric just threw it about 20 miles past the hole.
When you can throw that far, you may as well every once in a while.
Yeah, it's not a bad play.
Maybe not the best.
I wouldn't say it's
but it's definitely not the worst.
Best play.
Yeah, it was funny. After Miles threw, Eric went back to his bag and he goes, "Well, thanks for being my wind dummy. I got to change now."
Yeah.
And picked up a different disc.
Oh man, and Coda's actually thrown a perfect line.
He got that right edge down just enough.
And it just didn't hit any trees.
A little bit long.
That's the issue with the over-the-top shot. If you throw that, you're counting on hitting a tree and crashing. And if you miss, it's just unlucky. Not much you can really do.
The one time you want to hit trees.
Yeah. That's right.
When you're not going to.
That's right. Joshua pulled that a little bit right, but I think he'll still have a look from over there.
Bradley is really liking these Novas for just anything straight, approach shots. This is, I think, at least the 3rd or 4th time we've seen him throw it this round.
That's right, and that's actually his signature series disc. Ooh, giving it a run with Innova is I think it's a Glow XT Nova or some
cool.
type of Nova, and he throws them really, really well. That's all there is to it.
Eric with the nice easy approach. He did not have a line.
No.
Miles I think he was going for it a little bit and just missed, and now he's got maybe 10 feet. And Coda he's in there.
Yeah.
You can't really see him, but he's in there, I promise you.
I thought we were just getting some nature shots.
Yeah. There's some movement. You can see he's trying to find his line, trying to find a way out.
Yeah, and
really
that's
not
good.
a bad shot.
That's really good.
Considering he was in a bush.
Totally. From being on that left side, there are some openings where it's just the easiest pitch up you've ever had, and then there are spots like Coda had and kind of like Miles had where there's just maybe you get a look, maybe you don't. Oh, just top nubs for Joshua there. I'm surprised to see him miss that. Miles will collect his 3, no problem.
Bradley, it's not a stat, but I swear he has the best pump fake in disc golf.
Him and Dickerson are right there together. Chris Dickerson is he's a robot, dude.
Yeah.
It looks as if And he fakes cameramen all the time.
Oh, there's a few times where you're going to see Bradley gets me, and he does the same routine every time.
Yes.
Even whether
You're
it's-
used to it.
Yeah, whether it's a 10-footer or a 50-footer, he does the same thing and still gets me. Still gets me.
He told me after the event he was just trying to get you.
Well, mission accomplished.
That's not true. I'm just kidding. Coda to clean up his 3, and that's a good 3 from the spot that he ended up in. And Oakley will pick up his 3. So a bunch of 3s, 1-4 for Josh. That'll put him into a tie for second with Miles. Bradley with the lead by a couple strokes.
Kind of stretching that out. Hole 6 plays 363 feet, and this shot is straight, and then a little bit straighter at the end, too.
Yeah. In my opinion, this is the best hole on the course. This is a neutral fairway driver. It could be a mid if you don't have much wind, but really all you're trying to do is throw, like that.
Which, I don't know if the camera picked it up, but in his backswing, somebody honked their horn.
Oh, man. They
as
tried
he
to
was
get
about
him,
to throw. And that
work him. He don't care.
He does no. You're talking about Dickerson being a robot.
Yeah. Bradley is definitely a robot. Yeah, Miles has just pushed this one a little bit to the right. There are some places to get lucky over there, but for the most part, you want to go straight down the middle, and the green is elevated by some railroad ties. And basically, about the best realistic shot that you can think of throwing is just hitting the railroad ties. That'll give you about a 20-footer, a little bit uphill, and give you a look at the basket. Now, if you get out to the left, you can be on the same level as the basket, kind of like Eric went a little bit farther left, but kind of like Bradley is. But landing on the railroad ties is, I'd say, pretty rare.
Yeah, Eric threw a felon, clipped a tree, still went long.
Yeah, I have to assume that was a T-bird from Bradley, T-bird 3 probably.
I believe you're correct, yeah.
And then I know because I played with Coda this last weekend, that was a St. Pro. He just didn't quite. It's an extremely understable St. Pro. It's what he uses to roll with.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he didn't quite get the angle that he needed on it to fly flat. He's going to have a little bit of work to do.
Yeah, it looks like Josh, I think this is one of those Steve Brinster destroyers.
That's what I was going to say as
I
well, yeah.
believe that's what it is.
Yeah, just pushed it a little bit right. And the difficulty with this hole, honestly, is from back here, now you're just trying to accomplish the same thing as before. Really, a good shot is hitting the railroad ties. I mean, you can fly the green and get it on there, but it's really easy to go off the backside if you get unlucky.
Or you could just almost put it in.
Seems
like a good idea.
It's never a bad choice. As a good shot from Joshua. And this is a Judge from Coda, Fusion Judge. Just pushed it a little right. He's hoping to get through those trees, and he does not.
Did not catch a break. And this is the first time I've ever seen this. Miles is throwing a patent-pending, I call them grenades, he calls them Scoobies, from like maybe 100, 120 feet.
Just, man.
Of course, up and over everything.
Why not? And to on the green. I guess it rolled off now, but wow.
Yeah, that is the only time you're ever going to see that shot.
That's a shot I would never dream of throwing.
No.
And he's just really proficient at it.
Mm-hmm.
Oakley's
Eric,
got a look from range.
Oh,
half and half.
Gave it a chance.
You know he wanted to get that one.
This doesn't seem like a hole where if you don't get the birdie, you're going to be losing strokes.
This is not a musket 2. It feels really good to 2.
Yeah?
Yeah, just get one up by the railroad ties. You know you're picking one up on most people. And Coda with a rough upshot, just doesn't quite give it the uphill that it needs to get there.
Bradley with that pump fake again. He does not quit, man. It's the same. It's honestly really impressive because it doesn't matter whether he's that far. Oh, maybe not the best time.
I guess not. I basically counted that.
That was, that's Bradley range for sure.
Maybe a little bit nose down, and then you can... Okay, so the first part of this fairway, you can't really feel the wind. That's a good save for Miles right there with the patent pending Scooby. You can't really feel the wind on the first part of this fairway, but it opens up to the lake a little bit right by the green. So if Bradley did get that nose down a little bit in the wind, it may have just pushed down a little more than he thought with a headwind in his face.
Great par save there after
Good
that
scramble.
drive.
Yep.
Really, really nice. I forget what I think that blue upshot disc, I think he said is a stud.
Okay.
From Innova.
Yeah.
It's just kind of similar to a slammer-ish.
Just overstable. Yeah, slow spinning for sure.
Everybody else tapping in Coda with the unfortunate 4. Everybody else with the pars. So Bradley still up 2 on Miles and Joshua. 2 behind that is Eric. And then unfortunately 2 behind that is Coda. And hole 7 plays 330 feet. There is a straight line, but everyone, it seems like, goes out and over the water. And as we were walking up to this tee, there's hole two's tee pad is right next to it, and so we were letting the cart on that tee off, and everybody was talking about, because there's obviously wind coming off the lake. Everybody was just talking about how much do you trust it.
Yeah,
just
how far out to the right do you need to hang it? And for Bradley, the answer is more.
More, yes.
Yeah, it's okay. So hole 6 is the best hole on the course. I think hole 7 is the most fun hole on the course, just because you have to swing your disc so far out to the right to park this hole. It is very, very difficult. You really have to trust it.
And as you could, like, those shots look perfect, but the wind just pushes it way left.
Miles ended up in a good spot.
Really nice.
That's probably about 30 short, 25 maybe. But yeah, I mean, this was one of the only birdies that I got during the round, and it was because I just threw something basically as far right as I could, and it just pushed farther left than everybody else's.
Eric telling that one to get left.
Yeah,
he wanted it. He just said, you know what?
Just go ahead.
Just go
get way over
farther
there.
away from the water.
Yeah, and that's a tough look over there, because it's easy to roll away past the railroad ties if you do miss that putt. There's not much of a danger of putting OB, but it'll look like it from where you're at.
Josh with a much flatter line.
If that picks up with the wind, it could be really, really good. If it doesn't, then he's going to have a little bit of trouble over there on the right.
He trusted it.
He knew what the deal was.
Definitely trusted it.
Coda's turned the hat around. He's ready at this point.
Backwards hat Coda. It's time.
That's right.
This is the one. Looks like a Lucid Defender.
Yep.
Wow.
Huge lift right out of his hand.
Biggest wind bump you'll ever see. Kind of gets saved by the tree a little bit. Not ideal landing spot.
I was going to say, that's still probably not really where you want to be. I would assume he's 50-ish, maybe 60.
It's a good distance. Yeah, he's pretty much forced to just lay this one up, especially being right next to that bush. Doesn't have a great stance. Still pretty far away. Tons and tons of wind. Just try and get it close, and it looks like that one just gets away from him.
Yeah, it got up in the wind just a little bit. And here's that daunting putt we were talking about. That looks like it's water right behind it. There's quite a bit of land behind the basket, but this is a difficult picture to look at.
And there's straight headwind too, so you know it's going to lift. It's just all mental. You just got to do it.
Just commit to it. The great legend Shia LaBeouf once said, just do it. But I'm sorry, Brad. I assumed you were going to make it, so I was just going to say
just tried,
do it.
And that was a great run.
Yeah, super difficult putt from right there.
Eric with a really similar distance.
Hey.
You're going to like that.
Oh, man. Yeah, just roll it back for him.
Oh,
that's a fantastic putt. I mean, smooth out of his hand, finishing left at the basket. Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah, you're going to like it.
He likes that.
Mikey likes it, man.
He liked it. The crowd liked it.
Oh, fantastic. Eric, quite the character out there on the course. Don't know if you could tell that by his pants or not.
You need sunglasses to look at him.
That's right.
Josh with an uphill.
He trusted it.
Matter.
He trusted it.
That's how you do it right there. Uphill, tailwind, doesn't matter. Just throw it in the chains.
Miles with the closest drive of the bunch, like we said, about 25-30, right in the center. That's a good 2 to get. This tee box is actually a little farther back than it was in years past. And so before, guys would throw overstable fairway drivers, and now for almost everybody, it's a distance driver pretty much every time, just to make sure that it doesn't flip over on you, that you do get the wind ride that you need to get it back over to the left. Oh, Coda. Having a rough go. This is if you haven't watched Coda play before, this is uncharacteristic. Coda is a really fantastic player. He's rated 10-12, 10.
I think it's 10-14.
Yeah, something good.
He's very good.
Yeah, he throws far and is extremely mild mannered while doing it. But I love playing with Coda because he gets pumped. If he makes a putt, it jacks you up. It gets you excited, man. But
just seems to be struggling a little bit, taking the only bogey on that hole.
Yep.
Does not seem like a hole you want to bogey.
Yeah, you're not going to want to take 4 there.
No. On to hole 8, another hole that you definitely do not want to bogey. 220 feet, kind of straight. You want a little bit of a left finish at the end. A little bit downhill, so it's going to play shorter. Miles with a slammer. And
that was just right out of his hand.
Yeah, he was not happy about that one.
No. This is a hole that you want to putt at. Even if you get unlucky and hit a tree in the middle, you really want to look at this hole. Eric's gone with an EMAC Truth, and he's also pulled it right. And then he gets a super Annie skip right.
Wow.
He's not pleased at that one.
No.
I wouldn't be either.
No. And not because of the result, I don't think. That is the only time All around, Eric teased with anything other than an enforcer, felon, or justice.
Oh, is that right?
That's the one.
Well, I think we know what the mistake was.
I think we know.
This is an enforcer hole.
Clearly.
Now we know that.
Very, very clearly.
And this is the first of the holes that kind of go back into the woods. This has been an original hole at Louisville for quite a while.
Josh with a great line there.
Yeah, I think that looked like a verdict to me, one of those old
Am Worlds.
Yep. Yeah. First one that goes back into the woods. This one's been around for a while, but then there's a couple new ones that have not been in for a little while, and that kind of changes the feel of the lake quite a bit.
Oh, Bradley looked like he was taking a much more up the gut, kind of a straight line.
That looked like his Glow Mako, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And then here's that verdict for Coda again, and you just watch it tip up.
Oh, man.
Yeah, if he misses either side of that tree, good look at the basket, but as it stands, he's probably going to be about 45.
You just can't seem to catch a break.
Yeah, and as we said a second ago, this is not where you want to be on this hole for Miles.
No, Miles took plenty of time trying to find. I mean, Miles is what, 6'4", 6'5"?
He's a tall fellow.
He's a big dude, and he was trying to lean one way, lean the other. He was trying all sorts of different lines to get some sort of a look.
Yeah. And a super unfortunate break. Like when you hit that tree, you expect to just be right there, give yourself a 30-footer. He did get some roll back, so he has a putt, but it's a ways out.
It's not ideal. Eric kind of with a Annie straddle. Up and over.
Ooh.
Gave it a run.
Fantastic line, just maybe a little bit high.
Mm-hmm. He did have some trees. They were kind of hard to see because they blended in. He did have some trees to get over. So he was forced to throw a high putt. But, yeah, a little bit too high.
Yeah. Miles saved that 3 after the rough break.
Probably about circle's edge, it looks like.
Stepper. And just pushed it a bit.
Yeah. He wasn't happy with that. He said he was rushing himself. So just slow down, take your time. That's a putt he can make all day.
For sure. There's Coda from a similar spot from Eric, but just a little bit closer to the basket. Fewer trees to get over.
And
he looks like he just needed to miss. Yeah, it looks like he just needed to miss just right of that little tree, and he's there.
And you could kind of tell by his reaction. He's not having the best time right now.
Yeah, he's just not quite on his game as we're used to seeing him.
Brad just...
Big putt.
Doing Brad things, you know?
Yeah, I like watching Brad putt because that's a committed follow-through all the way. Josh just making birdies look easy.
Anything you can do, I can do better.
It's fantastic.
Just trying to hang in there with him.
Well done.
I mean, Josh is, 960-something rated? Getting a little love from his caddy there.
Yeah, he's showing up like he's rated quite a bit higher, and that good on you, man. It looks like he's going to be an up-and-comer.
Miles just finishing out, tapping in his par.
That's bogey for Miles.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
I tried.
Rough.
Turns out the scorecards are already submitted.
That's right.
I tried, Miles. I'm sorry.
That's okay, bud.
Eric tapping in his par.
There you go.
Nice. Nice and easy.
Yeah, so a couple birdies for the guys at the top. Bogey for Miles. That'll set him back just a little bit. Oakley's one back of Miles, and then Coda's, as we've said, having a little difficulty.
And hole 9 is a par 3, plays 222 feet. Now, this is the first of the new holes, correct?
This is the first of the new holes in the woods. It's a little short forehand shot, and you really do not want to do that.
He got a good second kick.
He did, yeah.
Kicked him back into the fairway. But, yeah, that's the danger on this hole. If you miss your line just a little bit and kick into those trees, it is jail.
So you really want to play either the high kind of... Not really high, but higher in the trees, spiking shot, or a low skipper. Bradley's thrown that way too straight.
Hey, Bobby, catch this.
He wants to be moving right a lot earlier than that. He may have a look over there, but the intended line is quite a bit more hyzer than that.
Eric going with a little bit shorter. I believe
that's a Justice.
Yeah, that's his Justice, and I think Bradley threw a Sabo.
Okay.
Something. It's very similar to a Criminal, he said.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, and that's a better line for Eric. If it gets a good skip.
Big skip.
Yeah, I mean, he's in a good spot there. So that's where you can see Bradley's just went a little too straight for him. He may have a look, but you really want to cut it in a little early and just take your chances with the trees.
Hope for a skip. Just get up there and make your putt.
Hope for a skip that doesn't hit a tree, primarily.
In an ideal situation, yes.
And Coda's like, all right, if that's a little left of that tree, you know, by another, I don't know, foot.
The width of a disc?
He's about parked.
Yeah.
That was a really good line. He's having one of those days where he's just barely off.
Miles, of course.
Here's your another Miles special.
Oh, hey, you guys throw up the gut sidearms? Hang on.
I'll go over everything with a Scooby.
Yeah, he did clip that tree took a lot of speed off the disc, so he does come up quite a bit short, but really not a bad spot from there.
No.
He should be able to get up and down without much issue.
Yeah, long look, maybe 60, 70.
Now, Josh with a really interesting play. He's going sidearm roller.
Yeah, cut roller.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure what disc that is, but I think he wanted it to cut harder than that.
He did. That's not an awful result, but ideally you want something really, really, truly overstable that just holds angle the whole way.
Coda throwing that judge again. Nice little turnover. Might have wanted it to come out a little bit more, but he should have a look from there.
Yeah, you just don't want to hit an early tree. Leave yourself a putt of this distance, but for 3.
And this is it's a mercy, but it is beat up.
Yeah.
It's very beat up.
It's one of those old easy line mercies.
Hit the line.
Yeah, great angle at the basket, just a bit short.
Mm-hmm. No shame in missing that putt, though. Probably close to 60 feet. Hit the line, he threw it 58 feet.
Yeah, that's right. Brad just played to the other tee box.
Yeah, he just said...
He's confused.
Nah.
He thought we were playing Safari tee box to tee box.
In which case, easy birdie.
Yeah, he is 100% parked.
But
as it stands, this is a more difficult shot.
It doesn't look like it, but it's a wall of trees. It looks like there's a window in front of him, but I promise from his angle, it's not there. He goes up and over, and you can't tell, but that missed the basket by maybe 3 inches.
Wow.
That almost went in.
Good on him, man. He does some special things with a Frisbee, dude. He's pretty good.
Josh struggling to get some
a little
decent footing in
a
here.
little course maintenance.
Yeah, just helping out the Louisville folks, trying to get his feet planted, get a nice, easy-ish, easy as possible.
Right.
Run. Missed it a little bit short left.
Yeah, so he's going to be dropping in for 4. I guess not dropping in, but he'll be taking 4 here.
That's in his range.
Eric with a nice deuce.
That's how you draw this hole up.
Yeah, just nice justice skip or something slow and overstable. Get a good skip that misses the trees. Give yourself a nice putt like that.
Yeah, Coda tapping in his par. Josh with the bogey, unfortunately. Miles drops in his par, and there's Bradley. I mean, I don't know how his disc landed there and didn't hit the cage, but somehow it didn't go in. He made sure that one went in.
He's got the bringing it around the side and dropping it in action. I like that.
Eric with the only birdie and Josh with the unfortunate bogey now falls 2 behind Bradley, and Miles and Eric are tied 1 behind Josh for 3rd. So.
This next hole is basically a similar hole. Oh yeah, end of the front 9.
That's the end of the front 9.
Man, I got so excited.
You know what? We can go to hole 10.
Let's go to hole 10.
It's just going to be on the back 9.
Yeah, well, we'll do that.
Okay, we'll talk to everybody then.